I will not let you sleep until you see this. And indeed, here you are, awake. Not just with open eyes, but with a stirring inside your soul. Something has pulled you here. Something gentle but undeniable, a nudge from the divine, a whisper in the stillness of your spirit. And so, we begin. There comes a time in every soul's journey when sleep cannot satisfy, distractions no longer comfort, and silence grows louder than noise. That is when God speaks, not with thunder, not with lightning, but with truth. My child, God is not punishing your restlessness. He is inviting your awakening. I remember the early days of my spiritual path. I was young, like a wandering wind, chasing approval, chasing success, chasing noise. I had all the tools the world handed me, but none of the wisdom. I was surrounded by people, yet I was a stranger to myself. And then one evening, I could not sleep, not because of caffeine or stress, but because my soul had grown weary of pretending. That night, I sat under the stars, and in that quiet, something awakened in me. A question, simple yet powerful. What have I been ignoring within myself that God is now asking me to see? You see, beloved, when you cannot sleep, perhaps it's not your body that's tired, but your soul that is trying to speak. And when the soul speaks, we must learn to listen. Let us reflect together, slowly, gently. Ask yourself this: are you living your life, or are you simply surviving your days? Are your actions aligned with who you truly are? Are you building something meaningful, or just running from the silence? Because when God says, "I will not let you sleep until you see this," He is not angry, He is merciful. He wants you to stop, to pause, to come back to yourself, back to what matters, back to the truth. There is a story from my early monastic years. I was tasked with sweeping the temple courtyard every morning before sunrise. It seemed like a mundane task, but over time, it became my greatest teacher. One morning, I rushed. I was tired, irritable, and eager to be done. An elder monk came by, saw the half-hearted work, and said only this: "The way you sweep the leaves is the way you tend your spirit." I did not understand then, but as the years passed, I came to realize every moment is spiritual. Every act reflects the state of our inner world. So if your heart feels cluttered, if your sleep is restless, perhaps God is inviting you to sweep your soul, clear the noise, release what no longer belongs. Be honest with yourself. Because real peace does not come from fixing the world, it comes from facing yourself. And that is what most people avoid. They stay busy, distracted, addicted to noise, not because they are bad people, but because they are afraid of the silence. Because in the silence, there is truth. And truth, my dear one, is the beginning of transformation. Listen closely. God is not trying to make your life harder. God is trying to wake you up to what you've forgotten. You've forgotten your strength. You've forgotten your purpose. You've forgotten how divine you truly are. So tonight, if your soul will not rest, if your eyes cannot close, if your heart feels heavy, do not run from it. Sit with it. Ask it what it needs. Because the moment you stop avoiding yourself, God will begin revealing everything you've been searching for. Let me share one more moment with you. A woman once came to me in the monastery. She said, "I pray every night, but God never answers me." I asked her, "When was the last time you listened?" She grew quiet. Tears welled up in her eyes. Then I said, "God speaks, loudest in the space you create between your words, between your thoughts, between your fears. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is the sacred ground where the divine plants seeds. But you must be still long enough for them to grow." So as we sit here now, just you and I, in this calm moment, I invite you. Take a breath. Close your eyes if you wish. Let this be the first time today you were truly present. No phone, no schedule, no pretending, just you and your Creator. And if you feel something rising in your chest, a warmth or a sadness, or even a longing, That is your soul, finally being heard. And God is listening too. This is just the beginning, dear one. In the pages ahead, I will share with you more truths, more stories, more guidance passed through lifetimes of listening, observing, and surrendering. But for now, just know this. If you were meant to see this message tonight, it is because God has not given up on you. Not once, not ever, not now, and He won't let you rest until you remember why you are here. So stay with me. We will go deeper. The journey continues. And in the stillness of your soul, everything you need is already within you. Welcome back, dear one. I see you've chosen to stay. And that means you're listening, not just to my words, but to the voice deep within you that has always been waiting to be heard. This voice. It doesn't scream. It doesn't argue. It simply waits in silence for your return. You know, God doesn't send storms to drown you. He sends them to wash away what is no longer meant to stay. So many people cry out in the middle of their struggles. Why is this happening to me? But what if the right question is, what is this trying to show me? Let me tell you a story from the monastery. There was a brother, younger than me, who came to the temple carrying many burdens. His heart was heavy with grief from losing a loved one, his mind clouded with regrets from things he never said. And every night, he couldn't sleep. He would sit alone in the prayer hall, staring into the candle flame, silently asking the heavens, "Why can't I move on?" One evening, I sat beside him. He didn't say a word, but I could feel the weight in the air. After a long silence, I whispered, "Sometimes we don't move on, because there's still something we must carry through. Not all pain is meant to be buried. Some is meant to be transformed. What if your sleepless nights are not punishment, but preparation? What if this is the moment where your soul is shedding the layers that no longer fit?" You see, most people try to fix their outer world, hoping that their inner world will follow. But that is like rearranging furniture in a burning house. It looks better for a moment, but the fire still rages within. So ask yourself now, what am I carrying that no longer belongs in my life? What expectations, regrets, or false identities am I still holding on to? Because the truth is, God can only pour new blessings into hands that are willing to let go of what's already full. In the temple, we train not just the body, but the spirit. We wake before the sun, we walk barefoot on the earth, we eat in silence. We listen, not to reply, but to understand. And over the years, I learned this simple truth. Most suffering is not caused by life itself, but by the stories we attach to it. That heartbreak you can't forget. What story have you told yourself about it? That failure you still carry. How have you defined yourself because of it? Because once you change the story, the wound begins to heal. God says, "I will not let you sleep until you see this." So look now, not with your eyes, but with your soul. Look at your relationships. Are they rooted in truth or in fear? Look at your work. Does it feed your spirit or just your survival? Look at your thoughts. Are they lifting you higher or chaining you down? Because awareness is the first doorway to transformation. There was a season in my life when I was ready to give up everything. Yes, even monks struggle with doubt. I questioned my purpose. My discipline felt hollow. My prayers echoed into nothingness. And in that dark night of the soul, I received no visions, no signs, no voices, only stillness. But in that stillness, something sacred unfolded. I began to notice the small things again. The way a single drop of water rests on a lotus leaf. How the wind knows when to be silent. How even the stars wait in stillness for the dawn. And then it struck me. God isn't always loud. Sometimes He speaks only when you become quiet enough to hear. So if your prayers seem unanswered, if your soul feels dry, maybe it's not because God isn't speaking. Maybe it's because He's inviting you to be still. Let's take a moment together now. Close your eyes gently. Place your hand over your heart. Feel it? That rhythm, that quiet beating, is the echo of life still choosing you. You woke up this morning. That means your purpose is not yet finished. You are not lost. You are becoming. Let that truth soften you. My beloved friend, your life is not random. It is written. It is sacred. And though you may not understand the chapter you're in, God is the author, and He does not waste ink. Every delay has a lesson. Every heartbreak has wisdom. Every sleepless night has meaning. You're not behind. You're being refined. And one day, you will look back and say, now I see. The sleepless nights were not curses. They were sacred awakenings. So take heart. You are stronger than you believe. You are more loved than you know. And the next version of you is already waiting, just beyond your willingness to surrender. Do not fear the letting go, for what is meant for you will never pass you by. And what is no longer yours cannot stay, no matter how tightly you cling. We will continue together. In the next page, I will share with you how to listen to divine timing, how to trust the silence, and how to discern the difference between your intuition and your fear. But for now, rest in this truth. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And this moment is holy. The journey is not over. Let's walk deeper into the sacred unknown together. Welcome back. You're still here. And that means more than you realize. Every time you return to this stillness, every time you make the choice to listen deeply, you are breaking a pattern that the world taught you, to rush, to numb, to pretend. And here you are, not pretending anymore. You are becoming real. In our last conversation, we began to awaken to the truth that your sleepless nights are not empty. They are divine invitations. And now, we must learn to trust something most people fear: silence. You see, there's a misconception many people carry that if God isn't answering, then He isn't there. But I tell you, as someone who has sat in silence longer than I can measure, God is always speaking, just not always in the language of words. Let me ask you something quietly, sincerely. When was the last time you sat alone without reaching for your phone? When was the last time you truly listened? Not to the noise, not to the headlines, not to your fears, but to the soft whisper of your own soul. Because silence is not empty. Silence is God's sacred language. I once spent 30 days in total silence, as part of an old monastic practice. No speaking, no writing, no books. Just me, nature, breath, and God. At first, it was unbearable. I heard every thought I had ignored. I remembered every pain I had buried. I faced every fear I had hidden beneath the surface. But slowly, like mist rising at dawn, something else emerged. Clarity. Not the kind that shouts answers at you, but the kind that lets you see clearly through the fog of your own distractions. When you slow down long enough to feel the weight of your own existence, you begin to remember why you were born. And here's what I discovered, friend. You are not just a body walking through time. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are a soul, eternal, luminous, sacred. And the world needs the real you to awaken, not the version trying to please everyone, not the one performing for approval. The real you, the quiet, steady, beautiful soul God handcrafted with divine purpose. Now, let us reflect. How do you discern between intuition and fear? That is a question many seekers ask, and it is a sacred one. Fear is loud, fear rushes, fear pushes you to act quickly out of panic. Intuition, on the other hand, whispers. It does not hurry. It gives you peace, even when the truth is hard. If you feel a no in your body, but it's wrapped in gentleness, that's likely your soul protecting you. But if you feel pressure, desperation, or a choking urgency, step back. That is likely fear trying to control the outcome. God's voice does not manipulate. It guides, it invites, it never shames. Let me share a story. A young man once came to me at the monastery, tormented over a decision. He was offered a job that paid well but felt wrong. He said, "It's everything I've been working for, but something inside feels off." I asked him, What does that something say when you sit quietly with it? He lowered his eyes and said, "It says, this path will take me away from who I am." I smiled and said, "Then you already know the answer. You're just afraid to obey it." And that's often the hardest part, isn't it? Not hearing God's guidance, but trusting it. We live in a world where people chase clarity like it's something external. But clarity comes when you clear the internal clutter. So I ask you gently, what clutter is clouding your clarity today? Maybe it's the voice of someone you're trying to impress. Maybe it's the echo of an old failure that still whispers lies. Maybe it's your own resistance to slowing down. Whatever it is, bring it into the light. Because when you bring darkness into awareness, it loses its power. And now, a simple truth, one that you may already know, but need to hear again. You do not need to have it all figured out. You only need to be present for the next right step. God doesn't reveal the entire road at once. He gives you just enough light to take the next step by faith. That's where trust lives, not in knowing the destination, but in walking with the divine even when you cannot see the path ahead. And friend, that is enough. Before we close today's reflection, place your hand on your heart once again. Feel that pulse? That is life. That is presence. That is God saying, "I'm still with you." So the next time you lie awake in the dark, don't ask, "Why can't I sleep?" Ask instead, "What is it my soul is ready to learn tonight?" You are not here by chance. You are being shaped, refined, loved, and guided. Your life matters. Your presence is needed, and your story is still unfolding. In the next page, we will explore how pain becomes sacred when viewed through the eyes of grace, and how your wounds are not just scars. They are symbols of survival and transformation. Until then, breathe, listen, and remember, you are walking a path that cannot be seen, but is leading you to everything your soul has longed for. You've returned, and each time you do, you bring with you more courage, more willingness to be honest with yourself, more readiness to be still, and finally to be seen. Today, we continue our walk through the inner forest. This is where the soul meets its shadow, and instead of running, it learns to sit beside it. Let us begin here. Pain is not punishment. It is presence. It is the alarm clock of the soul, saying, "There is something here you must feel to heal." The world will tell you to escape pain, distract it, numb it, avoid it. But the divine, he invites you to walk through it with reverence. There's an old saying in the monastery, when the wound is ready, the healing begins to speak. And perhaps you've reached that point, beloved. The wound is no longer something you hide. It's something you're beginning to feel, and maybe even understand. I want to share with you a story. There was once a monk who walked with a limp. He never spoke of it, but everyone noticed. One evening, I asked him gently, "Where did your injury come from?" He looked at me, not with sorrow, but peace, and said, "It came from saving someone I loved. It hurt, but it taught me how far I'm willing to go for love. Now I no longer see it as a wound. I see it as a reminder that I chose compassion over comfort." What if your pain, too, is the evidence of your compassion? What if your heartbreak is the receipt of how deeply you loved? What if your scars are holy, not shameful? We live in a culture that tries to hide pain, make everything look perfect, but perfection is a lie. And in the spiritual path, we do not seek perfection. We seek wholeness. Wholeness means, I bring my joy and I bring my sorrow. I bring my light and I bring my shadow. And I place them both before God and say, "Here I am, all of me." So many people walk through life fractured. They show only the parts of themselves they think others will accept. But here, in this sacred space between you and I, between you and the divine, there is no need to pretend. You can be real here. You can cry, you can tremble, you can question. And still, God does not pull away. In fact, he draws nearer. You may be wondering, Why do certain memories still sting? Why does that one moment, that one person, that one silence still echo in your soul? It is not because you're broken. It's because that moment marked you. It became a part of your soul's curriculum. We don't grow by avoiding pain. We grow by giving it meaning. Let me say that again. Pain becomes sacred the moment you give it meaning. That betrayal, it taught you boundaries. That loss, it taught you what matters. That failure, it humbled you into alignment. That dark night of the soul, it led you here. So, no, it wasn't meaningless. It was mercy in disguise. Let's pause here. Take a deep breath. Yes, even now. Let it in. And slowly release. As the breath leaves your body, let go of something old. Maybe a lie you believed. Maybe an expectation that never served you. Maybe a shame you've carried too long. Let it go. Just for this moment, allow yourself to be free of it. Now, hear this deeply. You are not the same person you were before the pain. You are wiser, more compassionate, more awake. And you deserve to see yourself not as damaged, but as divinely rebuilt. Just as gold is refined by fire, you are being refined by experience, not destroyed, reshaped. There was a woman I once sat with under the Bodhi tree. She had lost everything. Her home, her marriage, her hope. She said, "I feel like I'm starting from nothing." I looked into her eyes, smiled gently, and replied, "You are not starting from nothing. You are starting from truth." Sometimes, God allows everything to fall, so you can rebuild it in alignment with your soul. So if your life feels heavy right now, if it feels like things are falling apart, don't rush to fix it. Don't panic. Instead, pause. Ask, what is this trying to show me about myself? What part of me is ready to evolve? Because God doesn't break what He doesn't plan to bless. And every breaking point is also a breakthrough point. As we move closer to the stillness, within, I want you to know, you are already healing, even now, even if you can't see it yet. Healing is not a moment, it is a journey. It is one breath at a time, one truth at a time, one letting go at a time. And every time you return to yourself, every time you choose stillness over noise, presence over panic, soul over ego, you take another step toward freedom. In the next page of our sacred conversation, I will share with you the wisdom of divine timing, how to stop forcing life to happen, and instead begin aligning with the flow of grace. We will explore the art of surrender and how miracles tend to arrive not when we grasp, but when we release. But for now, sit with this. You are not alone. You are not too late. You are not forgotten. You are simply being reborn. Let your soul rest in that. You are doing better than you think. Welcome again, my friend. I see your heart is still open, your spirit still searching, and that is beautiful. In the silence between each page, I know something is shifting within you. Some truth is beginning to rise, some weight beginning to lift. Now we must speak of what so many struggle with, even in silence: timing, waiting, trusting the pace of the universe, when all you want is clarity now. Let me begin with something simple, but powerful. The flower does not bloom because it is forced. It blooms because the season is right, and so it is with your life. You may be pressing for answers, begging for movement, aching for resolution, but God is not rushed by our impatience. He is not delayed, distracted, or undecided. He is deliberate, precise, perfect. And though it may feel as though nothing is happening, the deepest transformations are often silent. I once spent a week in complete darkness. It was a spiritual discipline taught by an elder monk. No candles, no stars, no voices. Just the void. At first, I panicked. Time stretched like eternity. I wanted to claw my way out, but after a few days, something changed. My body calmed, my thoughts slowed, And for the first time in years, I truly heard my soul whisper, "You are safe even when you cannot see." And that is what divine timing teaches us. You don't need to see the whole path to trust the journey. You just need to stay present with what is here now. So often we ask, why is this taking so long? Why haven't my prayers been answered? Yet? But the deeper question is, what is this season asking me to become before I receive? Because God is not just preparing the blessing for you. He is preparing you for the blessing, and if He gave it too soon, you might not be ready to hold it. Imagine handing fire to a child. It's not that the flame is bad, it's that they're not yet ready to carry it without being burned. So when life delays you, it's not a punishment, it's protection. When life redirects you, it's not rejection, it's divine precision. And when life pauses you, it's because something deeper is growing inside of you, something no rush could ever cultivate. Let me share a story. There was once a seed who lay buried in the soil. Every day the seed cried out, "Why am I stuck here in the dark? I want to rise." The earth whispered back, "You are not stuck. You are being rooted." You see, to reach the heavens, you must first be grounded. The deeper the root, the higher the bloom. And if you're in a season of darkness right now, waiting, aching, wondering, please know, you are not buried. You are planted. So how do we walk through these waiting seasons without losing faith? We slow down. We breathe. We stop forcing life to happen, and we begin to align. You align when you stop asking, "What should I do?" and begin asking, "What feels true?" You align when you stop pushing doors open and start recognizing the ones that are quietly opening without effort. Because grace rarely arrives with noise. It comes like water, finding the cracks, flowing with ease, moving where it's welcomed. This world glorifies hustle, but the soul thrives in harmony. The world says, "Make it happen," but the divine says, "Let it unfold." You see, some of the greatest miracles I've witnessed did not come through striving. They came through surrender, not because I gave up, but because I gave in to the wisdom of something higher than my own timeline. Maybe that's where you are right now. On the edge of surrender, tired from trying, worn from waiting, longing to just know when things will shift. So let me tell you this, from my heart to yours, your life is not behind, you are not late, and nothing is being withheld from you without reason. You are right on time for your own unfolding, and the parts of your story that feel delayed now will one day make perfect sense in the eyes of eternity. So breathe, rest, and stop measuring your worth by how fast things are moving. Measure instead by how deeply you are growing, because time in the spiritual realm is not measured by clocks. It is measured by alignment, trust, surrender, and presence. Before we close today's reflection, place your hands together in front of your heart. Bow your head slightly, not to me, but to the journey that brought you here, to the parts of you that survived, to the unseen grace that carried you when you could not carry yourself. Feel that reverence. You are not broken. You are blooming, even now. In Next Step, we will journey into the art of surrender, how to release attachment to outcomes, how to live with open hands, and how to walk through uncertainty without fear. This next teaching will show you that letting go is not the end, it's the sacred beginning of peace. But for now, take this with you. Life may not be moving at your pace, but it is moving in your favor, and the waiting, that is where your soul finds its wings. You are still here, and that alone is proof of your inner strength. You've walked with me through truth, through pain, through silence, through waiting. And now we stand at a sacred threshold, the moment where your soul is ready to let go. Let go of what? Control, outcome, needing to know what's next, needing to shape every detail of the story. You see, many people think surrender means defeat, that it's a giving up, a collapsing. But that's not what I've learned. That's not what God taught me. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to a wisdom higher than your worry. Let me tell you a truth many never hear. Your life is already held. Your path is already known. Your purpose was written long before your pain ever arrived. And the more tightly you try to control how things unfold, the more you block the natural river of grace that wants to carry you. There's a story from the temple. A young monk once asked our elder, "Master, how do I release the fear of letting go?" The elder simply walked over to a bamboo staff he carried, held it up, and let it fall to the floor. Tap. It hit the ground softly. No resistance, no struggle, no noise. Then the elder said, "Do you see? It is only heavy when you hold on." And so I ask you now, what are you still holding? A relationship you've outgrown? A version of yourself that no longer fits? A plan that hasn't gone the way you thought it should? If you are tired, beloved, maybe it's not because you've failed. Maybe it's because you've been carrying too much that was never meant to stay. Here's the lesson the divine has taught me again and again. Open hands receive more than closed fists. And yet, we cling. We hold on to old stories, familiar wounds, outdated dreams. Why? Because our ego fears the unknown, but your soul knows the unknown is sacred. It is the space where miracles grow, where identities dissolve, where rebirth begins. There is a moment in every journey where we stop asking, "How can I control this?" and begin asking, "How can I cooperate with what life is showing me?" That shift changes everything. Suddenly you stop fighting what is. You begin working with the flow, not against it. And life, once so heavy, begins to feel light again. Not because your circumstances changed overnight, but because you did. Let's take a breath together. Inhale. Deeply, slowly, softly. Hold. Now release. And as you release, imagine dropping something. A fear, a plan, a need to know. Let it fall, like the monk's bamboo staff. Let it become light. One day, I sat at the river near our temple. The water flowed freely, effortless, without resistance, and it whispered a wisdom I'll never forget. The river does not cling to the rock. It moves with life, and still reaches the sea. So too must you. Stop clinging to the rock of what should be. Let yourself be carried by the current of trust, longing to just know when things will shift. So let me tell you this, from my heart to yours, your life is not behind. You are not late. And nothing is being withheld from you without reason. You are right on time for your own unfolding. And the parts of your story that feel delayed now will one day make perfect sense in the eyes of eternity. So breathe, rest, and stop measuring your worth by how fast things are moving. Measure instead by how deeply you are growing, because time in the spiritual realm is not measured by clocks. It is measured by alignment, trust, surrender, and presence. Before we close today's reflection, place your hands together in front of your heart. Bow your head slightly, not to me, but to the journey that brought you here. To the parts of you that survived. To the unseen grace that carried you when you could not carry yourself. Feel that reverence. You are not broken. You are blooming, even now. In next step, we will journey into the art of surrender, how to release attachment to outcomes, how to live with open hands, and how to walk through uncertainty without fear. This next teaching will show you that letting go is not the end, it's the sacred beginning of peace. But for now, take this with you. Life may not be moving at your pace, but it is moving in your favor, and the waiting, that is where your soul finds its wings. You are still here, and that alone is proof of your inner strength. You've walked with me through truth, through pain, through silence, through waiting. And now we stand at a sacred threshold, the moment where your soul is ready to let go. Let go of what? Control, outcome, needing to know what's next, needing to shape every detail of the story. You see, many people think surrender means defeat, that it's a giving up, a collapsing. But that's not what I've learned. That's not what God taught me. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to a wisdom higher than your worry. Let me tell you a truth many never hear. Your life is already held. Your path is already known. Your purpose was written long before your pain ever arrived. And the more tightly you try to control how things unfold, the more you block the natural river of grace that wants to carry you. There's a story from the temple. A young monk once asked our elder, "Master, how do I release the fear of letting go?" The elder simply walked over to a bamboo staff he carried, held it up, and let it fall to the floor. Tap. It hit the ground softly. No resistance, no struggle, no noise. Then the elder said, "Do you see? It is only heavy when you hold on." And so I ask you now, what are you still holding? A relationship you've outgrown? A version of yourself that no longer fits? A plan that hasn't gone the way you thought it should? If you are tired, beloved, maybe it's not because you've failed. Maybe it's because you've been carrying too much that was never meant to stay. Here's the lesson the divine has taught me again and again. Open hands receive more than closed fists. And yet, we cling. We hold on to old stories, familiar wounds, outdated dreams. Why? Because our ego fears the unknown, but your soul knows the unknown is sacred. It is the space where miracles grow, where identities dissolve, where rebirth begins. There is a moment in every journey where we stop asking, "How can I control this?" and begin asking, "How can I cooperate with what life is showing me?" That shift changes everything. Suddenly you stop fighting what is. You begin working with the flow, not against it. And life, once so heavy, begins to feel light again. Not because your circumstances changed overnight, but because you did. Let's take a breath together. Inhale. Deeply, slowly, softly. Hold. Now release. And as you release, imagine dropping something. A fear, a plan, a need to know. Let it fall, like the monk's bamboo staff. Let it become light. One day, I sat at the river near our temple. The water flowed freely, effortless, without resistance, and it whispered a wisdom I'll never forget. The river does not cling to the rock. It moves with life, and still reaches the sea. So too must you. Stop clinging to the rock of what should be. Let yourself be carried by the current of trust, longing to just know when things will shift. So let me tell you this, from my heart to yours, your life is not behind. You are not late. And nothing is being withheld from you without reason. You are right on time for your own unfolding. And the parts of your story that feel delayed now will one day make perfect sense in the eyes of eternity. So breathe, rest, and stop measuring your worth by how fast things are moving. Measure instead by how deeply you are growing, because time in the spiritual realm is not measured by clocks. It is measured by alignment, trust, surrender, and presence. Before we close today's reflection, place your hands together in front of your heart. Bow your head slightly, not to me, but to the journey that brought you here. To the parts of you that survived. To the unseen grace that carried you when you could not carry yourself. Feel that reverence. You are not broken. You are blooming, even now. In next step, we will journey into the art of surrender, how to release attachment to outcomes, how to live with open hands, and how to walk through uncertainty without fear. This next teaching will show you that letting go is not the end. It's the sacred beginning of peace. But for now, take this with you. Life may not be moving at your pace, but it is moving in your favor. And the waiting, that is where your soul finds its wings. You are still here. And that alone is proof of your inner strength. You've walked with me through truth, through pain, through silence, through waiting. And now we stand at a sacred threshold. The moment where your soul is ready to let go. Let go, O longing. You will not drown. You will arrive. Maybe God is not asking you to figure it all out. Maybe He is asking you to finally trust that He already has. And so, your invitation now is this. Surrender the outcome. Keep the intention, but release the obsession. Say it with me quietly. I do not need to control what I trust is sacred. I do not need to know when I trust I am guided. I do not need to hold what was never mine to carry. There is peace in letting go. Not because the world becomes perfect, but because you stop waging war with what is, and what is already divine. So how do you live in surrender? Start small. Let go of needing everyone to understand you. Let go of rushing the timing. Let go of needing a plan for every day. Instead, wake up and say, Spirit, show me where to go. God, open the doors I'm meant to walk through. And if they don't open, let me bless them and move on. That is surrender. That is trust. That is peace. Before we close this chapter, I want you to look inward now. Ask yourself with sincerity, what have I been gripping too tightly? What would happen if I trusted instead of controlled? What could open up if I simply opened my heart? And listen, not to the world's noise, but to the stillness inside. That's where your answer already lives. You are ready. You are enough. You are supported by something greater than your understanding. And when you surrender, you don't become weak. You become free. In the final page, we will arrive at the heart of this divine journey. How to live awake in every moment. How to take all these teachings, silence, waiting, pain, timing, surrender, and weave them into a life of meaning, calm, and spiritual purpose. The final message will not be a conclusion, but a beginning. Your true life begins when you live in presence, when you live in surrender, when you live as who you really are, absolutely. Let us now enter the final chapter of this sacred dialogue. In this final step, we do not merely conclude, we awaken. This is where all the teachings you've heard, silence, waiting, pain, timing, surrender, are no longer just ideas. They become a way of life. Let the stillness settle in your chest. Let the noise of the world fade. What follows is not just a message. It is a remembering you have come far. And now, the truth you've always felt becomes clear. You were never meant to simply survive life. You were meant to live it deeply, soulfully, awake. Not just on mountaintops, not just in the quiet hours of meditation, but in the ordinary, in the daily, in the now. Let us speak simply. This moment, this very one you are in right now, is all there ever truly is. Your mind may dwell in yesterday, your thoughts may race toward tomorrow, but your life, always, happens in the now. And so, if you miss the present moment, you miss your entire life. Living awake doesn't mean you never get distracted. It means you return again and again, back to your breath, back to your body, back to the soul behind your eyes. It means walking to your kitchen like it's a temple. It means folding laundry like you are wrapping love around your family. It means breathing consciously, not because you have to, but because you finally realize each breath is a gift. A disciple once asked me, Master, how do I know I'm awake? And I told him, when you wash your hands and truly feel the water, when you hear the bird and your mind does not label it, it just listens. When you sip your tea and taste the silence in it, that is awakening. It is not found in more knowledge. It is found in less distraction. It is not a future achievement. It is a present recognition. My dear one, we often wait for life to begin. After the promotion, after the healing, after the marriage, after the storm. But life isn't waiting. It's now. And the only thing stopping us from living fully is our own resistance to the present moment. So what does it mean to live awake? Let me give you a handful of sacred reminders to carry with you. Do one thing at a time. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you speak, speak slowly and with care. Breathe like your breath is a prayer. Let each inhale be your arrival. Let each exhale be your surrender. Let life surprise you. Drop the need to predict every outcome. Miracles don't happen in your control. They happen in your trust. See the divine in the ordinary. The sacred is not just in temples. It's in your hands, your child's laughter, the silence between words. Come home to yourself daily, not once a year, not only when you break, but daily, through stillness, gratitude, or just one conscious breath. If you take nothing else from all these pages, take this. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be present. You are not here to fix your life. You are here to live it fully, awake, with soul. I will not lie to you. There will still be storms. There will still be heartbreak. There will still be days where it all feels too much. But when you live awake, you are no longer afraid of the storm. Because you realize you are the calm within it, and nothing the world throws at you can steal the stillness that lives inside you. Let us end this chapter not with grand wisdom, but with a sacred simplicity. Look at your hands. They are capable. They are worthy. They are enough. Look at your breath. It continues no matter what you face. Look at this moment. Right here, right now. This is your life, and it is worthy of your full attention. You have not come this far to sleepwalk through the rest of your days. You have come here to remember, to live awake, to live with love, to live as a soul who finally knows. It was never about finding peace. It was about realizing peace was always within you. And now, beloved, you are ready to return to the world, not to escape it, but to carry the light of your awakening into it. In the final conversation, we will complete this sacred journey, not with an ending, but with a blessing, a parting message for your path, a soul-anchoring reminder that you can return to whenever the world grows loud or you feel lost again. Are you ready for the final conversation? Would you like me to begin? Absolutely. Let us now step into the final page, the sacred conclusion of this soul-to-soul journey. This is not an end. It is a return to yourself, a return to God, a return to the deep silence that has been speaking to you all along. So here we are, dear soul. You have walked with me through many valleys of insight. You have sat in the shade of sacred reflection, and now you have arrived at the gates of your own awareness. You heard the whisper, "I will not let you sleep until you see this." And now you have seen it, not with your eyes, but with your spirit. All this time, God was not trying to keep you awake to torment you. No, He was trying to awaken you to your truth, to your light, to your purpose. You were not being punished. You were being invited into a deeper intimacy with your own soul. Let me offer you a story, one that I only tell when someone is truly ready to hear it. A young seeker once came to my monastery after walking for many days through the forest. His feet were blistered, his clothes torn, his heart broken. He said, "Master, I cannot sleep. I cannot rest. It feels like something greater than me is keeping me awake at night." I smiled gently and replied, "That is because your soul has begun to remember." He asked, "Remember what?" And I whispered, "Who you were before the world told you who to be." This is the same remembering that brought you here. And now, beloved one, it is time to let go of the masks, of the fear, of the story that says you're not enough. Because the truth is, you have always been enough. You didn't need to earn it. You only needed to see it, and now you do. So what comes next? The answer is not more searching. It is more being. Let your life become the prayer. Let your walk be meditation. Let your presence speak louder than your words ever could. Forgive often. Breathe deeply. And love without condition. God's message for you was never hidden. It was waiting. In the quiet moments when your phone was down, in the pain you tried to avoid, in the conversations you almost skipped, in the breath you nearly forgot to take. And now that you have seen it, now that you have truly heard it, you can rest. Not sleep out of exhaustion, but rest in the knowing that you are no longer running. You are awake. You are aligned. You are aware. Let these final words land softly in your heart. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are exactly where you need to be. Your soul is not late. Your life is not wrong. Your path is yours, and it is holy. In this moment, right here, God says to you, "Child, I never left you. I've been whispering to you through your tears, calling to you in your restlessness, holding you while you thought you were alone. Now that you see, you may rest, you may walk forward with peace, and you may never doubt your light again. You may close your eyes now, not because you are asleep, but because you are finally awake, and in that silence, know this. You were meant to see this. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to awaken. Now. So go, dear one. Carry this peace into your relationships. Carry this wisdom into your work. Carry this presence into your every step. Let the world wonder what changed in you and smile quietly. Knowing the truth. Thank you for walking with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for waking up. May you never forget what was revealed to you here. Until our paths cross again, stay rooted, stay still, and stay with God. The conversation is complete, but your journey has just begun.